This is the Ruckus and The Menace.
Challenge accepted. No.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games!
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go. There it is.
There's a winner. Look at that.
Back.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
All right. Welcome to Ruckus and The Menace, episode number 151. You know what this means. A celebration in which, if you don't know the song, it is Carol Bulu 151 Rum. And here we go. 151 Rum. Pineapple juice in Malibu, Caribou, get them all numb. Yeah, you get it. We talked about that earlier this year because we forgot how to count.
We are here on episode number 151 of Ruckus and The Menace. And on this episode, we have a short starting lineup with some quick takes. Our lights, camera, action, where we talk about things not content related that we have been watching and playing. The old pride and joy of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, sir.
A double dose of high heat, where we recap the conclusion of Major League Baseball's trade deadline,
And we definitely roast the crap out of it.
NFL previews of the northern divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Our power rankings, where we have a new category.
Game show host.
And get to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, that was not meant to be spoiled.
It needs to be spoiled.
We tease it, then we go with it.
I know the original formula was this X and Y.
It needs to be spoiled.
Because we need to add sugarcane to soda, okay?
You keep it a secret. Let the tease
It's sugarcane.
And
it's
then once
sugarcane.
we're there,
Didn't you hear Trump added sugarcane back to Coca-Cola?
we're trying to go with that, but at the same time, it's like a surprise. If you tell somebody that there's going to be a surprise, you spoil the surprise.
Wah wah. This is a audience that has very short attention span. Like very. I thought I had it bad, but very.
Understand that we would have. Understand that sometimes we deal with people that have the attention spans of goldfish and toddlers, but at the same time, there is a sense of knowing when not to let the cat out of the bag, because the cat will jump out on its own. Let's get right to it with the transaction log. Some quick takes that we have here are that the Texas Longhorns, Ohio State Buckeyes, Penn State Nittany Lions, Georgia Bulldogs, and Notre Dame Fighting Irish are the top 25 are the top 5 in the first preseason college football poll. Wichita State alumni Aftershocks defeat Everline Drive 82-67 in the finals to win the TBT tournament, which has been going on for a few years now. This has been the best finish for Best Virginia, the WVU alumni, as they made the semifinals. And much to the chagrin of George Kittle, the NFL has banned smelling salts and ammonia inhalants, as there was an FDA warning a year prior leading into it that also says that ammonia inhalants and smelling salts also can mask concussion symptoms. it's going to be it's going to be a very curious thing as to see where some of these people who were regular users of that, like Kittle, of what they do to kind of change some of these habits.
I feel like I didn't
Where were you going
even
with
think.
this?
I was gonna say I didn't even think that smelling salts would really be like a enhancer to mitigate a concussion symptom into the NFL. Like, I don't think anyone really think of that. They're just like, okay, well, it
What
sucks
were
that
you
that guy
thinking?
has concussion
What were you
symptom.
thinking they did?
I thought it was more
What were
kind
you
of like.
thinking that those things did?
I thought smelling salts were more for like making yourself come back conscious, but I didn't think it meant like it would relieve symptoms of a concussion. Like, as in, like,
mask 'em, yeah.
right. So, like, that's why I was like,
Yeah, it's like a different heightener of focus, energy.
I didn't know George Kittle used that. I just
ordeal.
kind of assumed that, like, they looked at the player and they put a flashlight in, like, a part of their eye that would, like, maybe show, like, symptoms of that, but also there's probably other variables too, but I don't know.
Only used it. It seemed like Kittle would only use it during because he used it as an energy and focus boost during offensive drives.
Yeah.
Because granted, George Kittle's a little crazy. What the fuck, you know?
Dude, he is not as crazy as Travis Kelce, I'll tell you what.
This is why he's enjoyable.
You heard me.
So, Kittle is...
Kelce!
Kittle's done WWE related things.
Oh, and it's not cool that Kelce didn't do it because he wasn't in the WWE. He was just a little guy with a little reality show and had his big brother make a little late night show at the beginning of this year. Oh, poor Travis Kelce. He's got a he's got a steakhouse with his buddy Patrick Mahomes.
He's a wild dude, but
that was probably my best Bobby.
I know that Kittle also.
Pause. I think that was probably my best Bobby Boucher impression out of all things I've done all time for this podcast. So let's just appreciate this moment, laugh it off, but also remember it. Okay, back scene.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, don't forget it. It's like, yeah, I understand that Travis Kelce is a very energetic personality on top of that. But I know that Kittle is... Kittle, I mean, on an offensive sideline, you watched receiver enough that he only knows one speed. Go. But overall, I think we now can move on to Lights, Camera, Action. This is our segment where Ruckus and I will talk about what we've been watching and playing that is not content related. So you will not find Super Bowl run stuff here. You will also not find any other content that is being announced or teased here. That is going to be more so in the segment we already had, with more so talking about channel news.
Yep.
Ruckus, take it away.
All right. So for what I've been watching, I have been watching the they call it season 14. I call it the remake of the new King of the Hill for this generation. First episode, it was hit or miss. Like, if you're the demographic that like thinks everything is cringe, you're probably not gonna like this, even if you don't get the references from older stuff from King of the Hill. But I kind of was thinking about turning off after the first episode, but especially because at the beginning you would think for a longtime King of the Hill episode, you would see them the hand, and then they would start it and they go dan 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 dan. But instead, it was not that, and then you're just kind of disappointed. But it gets better, I promise. I got through I am in the halfway point of episode 3. But other than that, I'm currently waiting. I've been patiently waiting for Battlefield 6 open beta weekend, and I hope the best for that series because I think it's a lot better right now than Call of Duty. Spennis, fire away.
Well, I will say this. The first thing is that really nothing new as far as what I'm playing so far. Hadn't gotten any new headway on Split Fiction. I'm still a third of the way through that with a longtime friend. College Football 26. I've kind of just deconstructed that down to now I'm just playing my Toledo Rockets Dynasty that is not being recorded. And then I'm just trying to find I really haven't found anything really sustainable to kind of play for the moment. While other than that, it's just been mostly enjoying time with the missus and all that as far as playing wise. Watching wise though, on my own, I did do Happy Gilmore 2 finally. Good, decent humor. I didn't find it overly spectacular. I mean, it's almost like a par for a course for most Adam Sandler movies. I don't really watch a lot of Adam Sandler stuff, but this was a very much a cameo-centric film. A lot of references playing back to the first, so they did a great job of keeping everything canon. But man, I gotta say there were a couple of entertaining cameos, where they bring back Carl Weathers' son, Carl Weathers' character's son, and all these other little things along the
Chubb
way.
Jr. Chubb Jr. was hilarious. He's just oh, I've heard of you, and then just out of nowhere, it's just a and you just see this ugly mug, and the next shot, and it makes you just laugh as an adult. But everyone else are just what the, that's not normal. But that's the funny part about it is it's just all misshapen and shit. Go ahead, Spennis.
They did a great job with even some of the casting choices throughout. I mean, Becky Lynch was one of the villain golfers at the climax. Kelsey Plum, one of the attendants. Eric Andre in the very early stages of the movie. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, throughout the movie as one of the Gilmore sons. I think there were a lot of impressive cameos and a lot of ties back, even tying back to the late Bob Barker, which they all had their good place. I just it wasn't a movie, or it wasn't a movie that I screamed this is absolute cinema. This is just, it's a decent movie. It's a decent movie. It's not very much like The Chef's Kiss. It was just, it's palatable. But what has been even more so is that found stuff that my wife and I have watched together. We finished up We finished up The Neighborhood. Really good. Finished up the season 7 of The Neighborhood. Really good sitcom. I mean, basically, Cedric the Entertainer and Schmidt from New Girl combined into, and Beth Bears all combined into one major sitcom, and I had good laughs throughout. Started the new season of the challenge. Love the mechanics of it so far. But the one we watched from beginning to end, I came in about an episode late, but as soon as I saw it, this thing I knew was absolutely my jam. And that is a show called Destination X. It was an NBC show released earlier this year, hosted by Negan of Walking Dead lore, Jeffrey, and the actor being Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And you are inside, like, basically anyone who was competing was inside this bus, and they're in Europe, but they didn't initially know that they were in Europe because the bus is blacked out. You can't see, and you can't see out. Anytime you have to go outside initially, you would have these glasses, like these VR style glasses that you put on their head, and they would even show the eyes where it's like, okay, the vision is off or the vision is on. Where they initially, like, if they're going from a spot, they'll turn the vision off. So they can't even see, like, they can't see anything of where they're going. They have to kind of, like, navigate them out. But they would start out at a certain location, and there would be clues throughout the episode that would lead you to what Destination X is for that episode. However, the players have to unscramble the puzzles themselves. And they give you the ways with the clues to be able to do that. Ultimately, you send people down to the map room where they have to actually pinpoint it on a map. If the furthest person away gets eliminated, and it would ultimately narrow itself down to one. But there were combinations of European trivia, European geography, different little like tidbits that would be there throughout every single episode, a bunch of little games. And it was a nice, fun little thing. I'm more so looking forward to the next season of The Traitors in January. You will hear about that at that time. But we now can move on to the Eastwood segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I'll roll the tumbleweed here in a second. Come on. Come on. There you go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. So, the good for this week. We have the NCAA tournament not expanding in 2026. I had mixed feelings about it with Spendus, but to be honest, I get why at this point. Because I kind of wanted more extra teams for the wild card, but other than that, like, if it doesn't work in the formula, it doesn't matter in the first place, but who knows? Maybe they add more to add more fan anticipation, but anyways, what do you think about the bad this week?
I'm a believer of, well, I was going to add on to the good here that
Go
I'm
ahead.
a believer of adding, like I'm a believer of this is good as it, like the format is good as is. However, if they do add, be very minimal about it. I don't think they need to go too large because even though there are 360 college basketball teams in Division I, you don't necessarily need to have over 25% of them making a tournament. Leave it to like maybe the top 20% tops, which would be like only like increasing it by 4 at worst. But 68, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
But I understand with all the other all the other cans of worms that they've opened now that I could see why they're not doing anything with it right now. The bad this week, on the other hand, though there's the good of the Speedway Classic that MLB had, having record numbers of people there. However, with a lot of people and a major rain delay, came with a lot of logistical issues that clouded the good success of a great turnout.
Yeah, I think.
And Ruckus said that was where I was saying, yeah, you continue.
So for the bad this week, I think the Bristol Speedway Classic, in a sense, was what some people would say a disaster, or more likely they weren't like anticipating it. But I feel like as a NASCAR fan or someone that's a general manager, if you wanted to Google how much you would, or how many fans are at an event at NASCAR versus a MLB event, and you kind of go on the safe side on how much food you need, it definitely would help, because apparently they didn't have enough funds for the food they had for the dogs, and they also didn't have nacho cheese. How the do you not get nacho cheese to fans for nachos, for God's sake? That's probably the cheapest thing there besides like a soda or like peanuts. Like everything else is super expensive, like protein in general is expensive. Go ahead, Spanish.
I mean, granted that, yeah, the lack of anticipation on a rain delay. Okay, I understand that. This is really, I would say, the first major failure of Major League Baseball with events like this. This is the first major one that I've seen. They've had all these series that have kind of been out in the way. They've gone well. This is the first one that kind of just, it more so didn't work because of logistical issues due to weather that was not foreseen. Some of that is within the control. Some of it is circumstances that were beyond control. Sometimes you can only do so much. I get that. I will say that, yeah, nature wreaking havoc and playing its course, yeah, that was beyond what MLB was prepared for. But they suspended the game, and even then the logistics were still not quite right. So, yeah, this is really the turnout, great success. The execution of things due to unforeseen circumstances, yeah, that caused it to fail. But I think that it is something that I think the MLB should continue going forward. There's gotta be better logistics. And the downright ugly this week. And this one was absolutely not funny.
I mean, to some it can be, but definitely not the majority. A person was arrested for throwing a adult, what some would say adult toy. For me, it would be definitely I don't know if it's glow in the dark or what, but it was a dildo that was thrown onto the court, and it wasn't just one time, it was many a times. And I'm sorry that I'm a child, but
I only put that there just so it was like, yeah, we would like to keep at least some things tasteful in talking about them. just, I am absolutely not enthused with this, just simply because what is the message you're really trying to get out here?
I think in the male,
What?
I think in the male, psychological, they're probably telling you to eat dirt in a nice way of saying it. It's kind of like saying take rocks, but without saying the actual meaning. I know it, but I'm not gonna say it.
I understand that. I understand the MO of what you're trying to get at. I just find I'm sorry. I am one that is more so they're in sports for the sanctity of sport. It does not matter the gender. I am one that is absolutely A-okay with women's athletics. I have no issue with women playing basketball, no issue with women playing soccer. I have no issue with any of this. It just annoys me to no end that people don't necessarily have the maturity level to not only not throw any object onto the court, but especially that one. Understand if it's traditional, like Detroit throwing an octopus, like the Detroit Red Wings and throwing an octopus. I would understand that.
Octopus versus dildo.
Onto the rink. Yeah, I can understand that people traditionally throwing a hat onto the ice for a hat trick. I understand that.
I'm a child.
But
I'm
no.
sorry.
There are certain things. Drew, you are the younger person on this pod.
Guilty.
Yeah, it makes me sound like I'm a little old school for not enjoying the joke. But at the same time,
Lame.
found it uncalled for was what it boils down to. And that's why it's the ugly this week, because it was absolutely uncalled.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, we actually will move to stuff that is a lot more pertinent to sport as a whole.
Yes,
It's
sir.
time for the high heat.
I'll go first.
Our first dose of high heat involves the Major League Baseball trade deadline. These are noteworthy deals that occurred after we got off the recording lines.
Yep.
Last week, and have gone through the actual deadline. Ruckus, which ones are notable that you would kind of throw on to what we can talk about right now?
Mainly Johan Duran and Ryan Heasley of the Mets now. Like, they both had their reliever or like intro music going on. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, I think Ryan Heasley had Back in Black, or I think that was the song he had for his intro music for being a closer. And like other guys who I thought it was kind of crazy that Mike Yastrzemski was decided to become a Royal. I didn't think that was going to happen in my lifetime, to be honest. I didn't want it to, but at the same time, I didn't realize it was going to. Anyways, let's keep going.
I thought it would have been funny. I thought it would have been interesting irony if he would have came to Boston.
What,
if Yaz would have came to Boston.
That would have been funny, honestly. It would be like it would probably almost be like a Doug Mankiewicz moment. like a moment, like it for Doug Mankiewicz.
No, but you also, the reason why is because you know exactly who Mike Yastrzemski's grandfather is, right?
Nope.
Yaz himself, Carl Yastrzemski,
Oh.
a notable Red Sox legend.
Oh.
Yes, that is the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski.
Well,
So
I'll tell you
I said
what.
it would have been even better had he gone to. It would have been more interesting had he gone to Boston.
I'll tell you what. If we don't get into the postseason, I bet you if we get eliminated, we probably get rid of Yastrzemski, and then he comes to the Red Sox in this next season. And then you're like, holy shit, Yastrzemski's back, baby. Anyways,
yes, I think he still has. What is it? He's only on a 1-year deal. So he was basically he went to Kansas City on a rental.
Yep.
But Carlos Correa gets a homecoming to Houston. Mason Miller goes to the Padres, and the number 3 prospect in all of Major League Baseball, and Leo DeVry, is now a member of the Athletics, which makes, whenever he gets called up into the infield, a very interesting conundrum, because Jacob Wilson is already a star shortstop.
Which is good. It brings competition, which is lacking in athletics. Always been, though, to be honest.
What I think they would do is I think they would ultimately move DeVry to short and probably move Jacob Wilson to second. I think they'd move Jacob Wilson to second and potentially do it that way. It makes it very interesting.
Yeah.
The Guardians finally let go of Shane Bieber and send him back to send a Bieber back to Canada.
Yes,
Too bad they couldn't do that with Justin.
Maybe,
that was a little cold-blooded.
Get me out of here, babe. No.
That was a little cold-blooded, but Ruckus, which team do you think was the biggest winner of the trade deadline?
I think if you're a pro bullpen guy and or just offense and defense in general, the original Yankees went for the best of the best no matter what price, and this time around they went for the bullpen because their bullpen was definitely lacking. I think maybe they used to have Kellen Ferguson and then he went to the Pirates, but speaking of Pirates, they traded for David Bednar. They traded a lot of good people for him. And then Camilo Duvall also got traded to the Yankees, which means they have a Aroldis Chapman like arm with Camilo Duvall because he can throw pretty fast. The thing with Bednar is he throws very slow, so he can slow things down for sure. But like Duvall, he is a force to be reckoned with. But go ahead. Sorry, Spanish.
These guys were former closers for their organizations that they were previously on. They get traded to the Yankees, but they are not closers. They will no longer be closers there. Devin Williams, I believe the Yankees still have Devin Williams as a closer.
All right, thank you.
We'll keep it.
But anyways, I think it's a win for the Yankees because they get someone that's almost similar to the time when the Yankees signed like Randy Johnson or like some big name ace or whatever. Since I guess you could say Mariano Rivera because he's like a classic closing pitcher for the Yankees. Anyways,
If I remember this correctly, I think Mo Rivera is a homegrown. I think he was a homegrown Yankees player. I think he only played. I think he basically only played for the Yankees. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, Mariano Rivera was a homegrown talent for them.
all right.
But my team that I think it was the biggest winner is I'm going to say, my oh my, the Mariners win it, as in the deadline. The Mariners did not need to do much, but the much that they did mattered. They picked up a power cornerback that they could have for a swing on and belt baseballs with Eugenio Suarez, and then also picked up Josh Naylor. So, yeah, you already have Cal Raleigh who can hit hard, but now you have Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor to go along with players that they already have. They didn't have to do much, but I think the little that they did mattered. And the biggest loser of the deadline for you, Ruckus.
I think the Brewers, because they didn't do a whole lot to improve, nor do really anything in general. Kind of like what your pick is going to be. Go ahead.
The Minnesota Twins is really more so that they were major sellers at this deadline, but I don't think a lot of their returns that they got were super beneficial to their fan base. And I think that Twins fans losing Carlos Correa, Joan Duran, those two right away in major trades, as great as Carlos Correa gets a homecoming back to Houston, Duran, as a major closer, they also gave up their entrance. They even traded away the full-blown intro for Yohan Duran coming in with the tarantula and all that to the Phillies. Like, they traded all that away when they did that, and that was an electric entrance for Twins fans. Now it's for Phillies fans. So I think the Twins, just simply because none of those trades really had a major benefit for the fan base. And now we move on to our second half of the High Heat, where we talk about the NFL preview.
Yes, sir.
They are on the North divisions, as Ruckus is focusing on the AFC.
Yes, sir.
And then I will have the NFC. Little bit of note here. Next week, we will not have episodes. So, you will not have another NFL preview until 2 weeks, where we then will have the West, and then the East will be done at the end of the month, completing the NFL previews. Ruckus, it's time to talk about the AFC North.
All right. Well, for the AFC North, I have the Ravens, which, to sum it up, improve upon what you had last season to this season and build chemistry on defense with Jair Alexander and finish the job, because for both ends of that, especially with Derrick Henry, there wasn't much going on at the beginning, but eventually during the end you did use Derrick Henry, but you still need to go for other weapons like wide receivers and tight ends as well to help your team improve. Besides that, the Bengals really just have to keep Burrow healthy and make sure the rest of the offense doesn't turn into the Yankees when it comes to most of the offensive players being hurt and just chilling on the bench. But you also have to make sure your defense is good too for the Bengals, because right now, like, they have kind of a leash on life when it comes to the defense, because a few players are signed on or locked into contracts, but also you had the I think it was, what was it, Shamir Stewart for one of the
Shamar Stewart, yep.
Shamar Stewart was one of the guys that got signed late after the fact, and it looked bad. Anyways, for my take on the Steelers is ayahuasca 2.0, but really that just relates to a dude that would rather mouth off about random crap than doing something about it, aka ayahuasca 2.0. And that's all I have to say about the AFC North matchup.
Okay. Two. What I'm going to boldly state here as this division is currently the best division in football. The NFC North. The favorite for me to win the NFC North is the Minnesota Vikings. Why? They lost less from what their previous year had held for them. Success will come down to how well they improve their pass defense and how J.J. McCarthy will perform in his first full season as the starter. They have a lot of offensive weapons that they also were able to add, with Jordan Mason being able to cover for Aaron Jones. They still have T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson. They will be without Jordan Addison for the first 3 games, which I will mention something later about that. However, it is going to come down to a lot of major pieces in that regard and how well they stay healthy as to whether or not the Minnesota Vikings will remain the favorites. And then the team that will be in second place, that will be right on their heels, is none other than Motor City Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Their key to this success is how they keep their gritty identity and creative flair while losing both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn to promotion, as Ben Johnson became the head coach of the Bears and Aaron Glenn became the head coach of the Jets. You're still going to have Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They lost Ragnar to retirement, but you're going to have a returning Aiden Hutchinson. You still got Kirby Joseph. So there's still a lot of major names that the Lions will have that will continue to push this team forward. It's all a matter of them staying healthy while keeping their identity.
Yep.
The Green Bay Packers, an under-the-radar team that is not over the hill offensively. Josh Jacobs likely the oldest skill position player on that side of the ball. The key to the Packers' success will be Jordan Love and how his gunslinger mentality can be kept under control, as that will be the difference between success and failure. Granted that also the Packers are without Jair Alexander, but Xavier McKinney could also poise himself for a great season. For the Bears, new coach, new offense. Hopeful for not the same results as last season when Matt Eberflus was coaching the Monsters of the Midway to being more like pedestrian. The NFC North has been showing to be the best in the best division in football for a reason, and the key for the Bears' success is to not get beat up too much in divisional games and also take advantage of the creativity that comes from the mad scientist offensively and Ben Johnson. And I couldn't be any happier about having the NFC North done now, because this division is going to be really good. And I think any one of these games is going to be a must-watch in this division.
Yep.
Next up, we now move to the power rankings. And the category for this, even as we continue on the Happy Gilmore theme, as Bob Barker was the notable person in that, and Ken Jennings was in Happy Gilmore too, the category is game show host. And Ruckus, you can take it away.
Alright, so for this one is rank your game show hosts, and we rank this from 1 to 5. So, number 1, we have Alex Trebek, me and Smash do, and
we
then
both consensusly put Alex Trebek.
number 2, I had Bob Barker, and then number 3, I had Steve Harvey. Number 4, I had Drew Carey, and then 5, Travis Kelce.
What? 2 and 3. Number 2, I put Steve Harvey. And number 3, I put Bob Barker. Number 4, I had Gene Rayburn from Match Game, hosting the old school Match Game from back in the 70s and 80s. And then at number 5, I had Aaron Robinson from The Weakest Link. And trust me, as Aaron Robinson roasting the dim bulbs of American IQ, that is huge. Some other ones that we also considered. Ruckus had...
I had Howie Mandel with the Deal or No Deal.
All right, and then I had a few deeper cuts involved. I had Bob Eubanks hosting the Newlywed Game, Wink Martindale, who hosted Tic Tac Toe, Craig Ferguson, who did a very low key show that really lasted a lot shorter than what it could have, with The Hustler, Richard Dawson, the kissing bandit of Family Feud. And then I also surprisingly didn't do this, but even though we both had Trebek at number 1, I also nearly put him, I also considered Ken Jennings as well, as he's kind of come into his own with Jeopardy. And now we move on to our stud and dud of the week.
Okay.
Ruckus, take it away.
Alright. For my stud dud, I have the Royals winning at home and away, especially against the Braves and Blue Jays, who are both considered contenders in the wild card and for postseason. For my dud, I have Shadir Sanders.
The wild card side of the NL is very loosely very loosely.
I'm just saying.
Just to be fair.
Anyways, so for my dud, I have Shadir Sanders potentially going away from the Browns because maybe he fits somewhere else in another ecosystem, but who the hell knows? It's Shadir, and it's also Dion's kid, and a lot of other baggage besides just obvious things, but never know in this hemisphere of the middle class. Anyways, go ahead, Spanish.
This week goes to none other than Sterling Sharp. No, I am not talking about Unk. I'm not talking about Shannon Sharp.
Right, it's
that has
Sterling.
Its own set of problems. But it is Sterling Sharp who has been enshrined the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He joins Unk as being the first pair of brothers to enter Canton. Yep. He beats out Peyton and Eli by about a couple years. Because I think Eli could eventually get in. But I think that Peyton already in. Eli probably could get in soon.
Yeah.
My dud for this week is Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. Gets suspended for the first 3 games of the season. But Ruckus, as I looked at the schedule, the Vikings have a very important game at the 3rd spot. It's against the Cincinnati Bengals. They play the Falcons in week 2, but the Bengals is definitely a paramount one that Jordan Addison will miss in week 3.
Oop.
And then my honorable mention, which is a little... What's up?
I said oof.
You were saying?
I said oof as in, like, oh no.
Yeah, I knew you were saying that. That's why, as soon as I heard you say oof, I was like, I knew where you were going with that, and I was moving on. The honorable mention and a little bit of a dummy of the week for, honestly, why would you do this, especially when you're nearly in Fat Bear season? The Seattle Kraken having one of their forwards and mascot Bowie having a close call with a freaking bear during a youth hockey promotional video shoot at Katmai National Park in Alaska. So the bear was definitely like off at the distance. They had guides, but just the fact that they also caught it on tape that the bear is charging a little bit before they were able to kind of like keep it quiet, because the bears there will also be eating on the salmon, and they're fish, and let alone John Hayden's out there fishing, and they had to like tear down that because there was a bear nearby, and they had that close call with it. Nobody was hurt. It was all under control, but it was definitely like not the best time or decision for any of that. Ruckus, go ahead and take us out.
Alright, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace. I am Ruckus, always call me Ruckus.
And I'm Spence the Menace.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
Deuces.